Hey everyone, I'm Haryanti Putri from Faculty of Economics and Business, University of Indonesia. Today, I would like to present my research titled The Determinants of Risky Investment Intention Among Generation Y in Indonesia, conducted by me with my supervisor Dewi Hanggraini. This video presented for International Conference on Humanities, Business, Education, Social Science and Technology 2021. The contents of my presentation will consist of introduction, question and objective, contribution, literature review, method, finding, and conclusion. Investment instruments have been tremendously developed recently and have become even more sophisticated compared to previous years. New instruments were founded, launched, and traded in various investment markets. It is essential to understand the investor's decision-making process and its determining factors so the investment decision could be performed efficiently. One of the fields studying the implication of psychological factors in investment decision is behavioral finance. Investment is a complex decision, and as the decision maker is human, it involves behavioral aspect. Behavioral finance combines finance, economics, and psychology in explaining resource inefficiency due to systematic mistakes that made by investors during decision making. According to the Central Bureau of Statistics Indonesia or Indonesian BPS, Generation Y population in Indonesia amounted up to 270.2 million and accounted for 25.87% of the overall population. This makes Generation Y potentially become major contributor in economic power for Indonesia in the near future. 70% of the current active investors already come from the under 40 age group. Concurrent with rapid digitalization, Generation Y face more investment product varieties than the previous generation. As the increased complexities of the investment market, amplified by the global economic uncertainties, Generation Y is often overwhelmed by the amount of information and investment products. One of the major characteristics of Generation Y is their dependency and connectedness to the digital world, especially social media. In another word, it can be said that millennials are digital native. Without sufficient knowledge, skill, and ability to self-control, there is a potential of being trapped into inefficient investment decisions. In addition, a phenomenon that currently emerging is expressive trading, which is investment decision driven by social media influence. When involved in expressive trading, Generation Y investors may potentially suffer from loss due to inefficient investment decision. This research will answer the question: what emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm, and religiosity influence risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to determine the factors from behavioral dimension that may influence risky investment intention through emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm, and religiosity. The study contributes to investors' behavior theory, in the form of proposing and evaluating comprehensive model to explain Generation Y's intention to invest in an emerging market. The result then can be further tested across countries. The result should also provide a point of view to the capital market authorities so that they would be able to provide market regulation that could protect new investors from losing their wealth due to irresponsible and illicit trading strategies. The literature underlying this research could be explained as follows. Previous studies find that investment intention is influenced by psychological factors such as emotional intelligence, risk preference, and locus of control. In addition to the psychological factor in making decisions, an individual's behavior is also influenced by subjective norms and religiosity, which represent social value influence individuals' investment decision making. Based on the theories and previous research findings, the hypotheses that are tested consist of hypothesis 1 to hypothesis 5 are emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm, have a positive and significant influence risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia, and religiosity has a negative and significant effect risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia. To analyze the influence of the above factors to investment intention, a multiple linear regression is proposed. The model to be seen on the screen. All the items intended to measure the variables in this study were adapted from previously validated instruments using 5-point Likert scale. The questionnaire readability was tested and met the threshold for the indicator's validity and reliability test. The sample is collected using purposive sampling and snowballing method. The questionnaire was developed using Google Forms and distributed using a link in social media such as Instagram, Line, and WhatsApp. Demographic characteristics. Based on 421 questionnaires that could be collected from the respondent, in general, the respondent of this study consists of 33.33% female and 66.67% male respondent. The majority of the respondents, 74.35%, resided in Java Island, and the remaining 25.65% resided outside Java Island. Viewed from the level of education, 77% of respondents attained university degrees, 8.1% completed their college degree, and 15% of respondents only complete high school level. Based on the income layer, the respondents could be classified into three groups. 6.20% fall into high income, 70.30% as middle income, and 23.50% could be classified as low middle income level. Response from 421 respondents, then evaluated to estimate the influence of emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm, religiosity, are proposed to explain Indonesian Generation Y risky investment intention. Multiple regression analysis using SPSS 24 was conducted. Measurement and model evaluation passed and met the threshold for indicator validity tests, reliability tests, and classical assumption tests like normality, heteroscedasticity, and multicollinearity tests, and the model has met the criteria of the model goodness of it. The hypothesis testing results are as follows. Hypothesis 1 to hypothesis 6 are supported by the data proven by regression results presented on the screen. Emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm positively and significantly affect risky investment intention. According to the data, religiosity has a negative and significant impact on a risky investment among Generation Y in Indonesia. It can be concluded that all hypotheses are supported by the data. Financial literacy is shown to be the most influential factor of risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia. Financial literacy in Jawa is higher than those outside Java Island. Locus of control has a positive and significant effect on risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia. Although realizing that saving and investment would lead to success, they do not want to be wiser and more careful in spending money. Risk preference has a positive and significant effect on the investment tension among Generation Y in Indonesia. Although accompanied by higher risk, Generation Y tend to take any chance. Religiosity is negative and significantly affect risky investment intention among Generation Y in Indonesia. Generation Y are still assuming that religiosity is an important part of investment decision making. The results are in line with majority previous studies. All determinants have a significant influence on risky investment intention. Emotional intelligence, locus of control, risk preference, financial literacy, subjective norm have a positive and significant influence on risky investment intention. On the other hand, religiosity has a negative and significant impact on risky investment in Generation Y in Indonesia. For policymakers, this research should provide additional point of view in terms of how to disseminate financial and investment education, including those who are residing outside Java Island, and provide necessary information regarding how to socialize and fight. This study's result could also provide insight for policymakers and how to treat investors from Generation Y. Okay, this is all the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention and watching. Bye.